Hello everyone. I wanted to share some words about the importance of the five senses because it's something that is very often overlooked in our world, and it is even more important today and in our future to understand the importance of our senses in a world where our sensual experience is very much downplayed and we're moving more and more towards the virtual world. I wanted to talk about this subject by touching upon the subject of the quintessence. And to start talking about this topic, I wanted to share with you some words that I received through channeling from Merlin after one of last year's new moon healing sessions. And he said the following about the power of five. The sacred number five is a key to harmony in the universe and in all things. Master the five, and you will be in complete harmony with the most sacred laws of the universe, and your life and creations will flow directly from Source. It is the balance between the five that is the key to harmonious living, to be more precise. These five are the primordial forces, the building blocks of your being, the underlying dynamics of the universe. Know the five, and you will know where you need to bring balance into your life, which parts of your being need to be nourished, so you can become a reflection of cosmic perfection. The five are earth, water, fire, ether, air. By honoring the balance between these forces, you honor all the aspects of your being and you unlock your full potential. If you neglect one of these aspects, you are not nourishing the totality of your being. You are creating hierarchy between the different aspects of yourself, breaking the cycle of flow and preventing yourself from accessing your full potential. So here Merlin already makes the link between the elements, or what he calls the five primordial forces, and our senses. Mastery of the earth element allows you to feel grounded in life, to have a divine relationship with the material realm, to build inner stability and have the stamina, health, and material support to fulfill your purpose. You can nourish the earth element within by nurturing your connection to nature and the natural elements, by listening to the voice of the earth, by adapting to the rhythm and the flow of the seasons. Choose carefully how you nourish yourself. What do you absorb and feed yourself with physically, emotionally, mentally, intellectually, and spiritually? Mastery of the fire element will give you access to the power of manifestation, as fire is the energy you need to propel you forward in the cycle of creative flow. You also call this energy passion, although passion is incredibly misunderstood by most people. As your fire element is mastered and channeled correctly, you will start to attract circumstances and a reality that is aligned to your highest purpose. You nourish the fire element within by cultivating love, by listening to the heart instead of the mind, by expressing your essence and finding a creative expression of the unique being that you are. Mastery of the water element releases your healing capacities. You become a pillar of healing energy when you have mastered forgiveness, unconditional love, humility, and when you have healed yourself. When this happens, you become a pillar of healing energy, and this is when you can be of true support to others. You nourish the water element within by being in touch with your emotions, understanding their language, and mastering the way you express them by setting healthy boundaries in your life. When those circumstances are met, energy, goods, and services can circulate in an honest way in your life. Mastery of the air element will allow you to refine, create, and innovate. When you master the air element, you become a lucid dreamer, an earth dreamer. You start to master not only your thoughts, but move beyond the intellect and start mastering your dreams and your subconscious life. Instead of a one-dimensional creator, you become active in all the different dimensions of your being. You nourish the air element within by nourishing and pursuing your dreams, by cultivating your dreams, by challenging your fixed ideas or certainties, by allowing yourself to get inspired by ideas, people, environments, and by putting your skills at the service of your passions. Mastery of the ether element, finally, will bring you the most precious gift of all, the gift of faith. Faith that there is a deeper meaning to life and to the universe, faith in yourself and in mankind, faith in love, faith in your higher self and the divine. Faith is the overriding and underlying power of everything. Although ether is a force in and by itself, it permeates all other elements as well. It is contained and it contains. In a way, it is as much the stem of the flower holding the petals together as it is one of the petals. You cultivate the ether element within through devotion and through staying true to your purpose. So this is Merlin's message about the importance of the number 5 and the importance of the 5 elements, of the quintessence. Now, the quintessence of the senses, what does it mean? It means a balance and a harmony between each of the 5 senses. Our senses are the way in which we enter into a relationship with the outside world. They allow us to communicate, to understand, and to process what is happening around us. They allow us to navigate the material world, to navigate our physical incarnation, because they allow us to understand the different dimensions that we navigate. Our senses allow us to find and feel our place in life and in this world. Now, the quintessence means that we have found a balance and a harmony between each of those 5 senses, which means that all of the senses have equal importance and none of them is more important than the other. And because of the balance and the flow that exists between each of our senses, we create a unity between all of them and we access our spiritual dimension. We access the invisible world. Because of the harmony that we create between our 5 primordial senses, we are able to transcend them and to transcend the purely physical and the purely material lives that we live. And this is, of course, one of the intentions of our incarnation, is to be able to reach this point, to reintegrate the spiritual into our physical incarnation. If we limit ourselves to our purely physical experience, which means that we limit ourselves to the life, to the experience that we perceive through our 5 senses, and we don't go beyond this, we greatly limit ourselves and we greatly limit our potential. I guess we could compare it to a fish that lives in a fishbowl. Now, when we reach the quintessence and we move beyond the world of the senses, beyond the simply physical or material experience, the fish leaves the fishbowl and swims back into the ocean. So it's really the difference between the fishbowl and the ocean. It creates, of course, more space. It creates expansion. It creates more space to breathe, more space to experience life. The quintessence allows us to understand and to experience that we are not physical beings who from time to time can have a spiritual experience or from time to time can sense the invisible world, but that we are very much spiritual beings who are incarnated into a physical body, which means that this physical material world and realm is only a very small part of our reality, and that it's a reality, it's a space of experience that is too small to have all the experiences we are meant to have in our lifetime. And this is, of course, very much what happens to people who are very sensitive, who are hypersensitive, who feel more than other people do, either through one of their senses or all of their senses. What they feel or what they experience is that they are getting too much information, too much impulses to be able to process them in the reality that they live within, in the space that they have, the life bubble that they have. And when this happens, there are multiple solutions to this feeling of feeling under pressure, of feeling almost attacked by the outside energies, the outside impulses that are arriving, that they have to process. The route that is very often chosen is the route of drugs, of medication, to suppress the overload of energy, the overload of impulses that is coming to them, to suppress the senses, to suppress their sensitivity, and to numb their feeling, to numb their experience, to be able to process more easily what is happening. It can lead to substance abuse, again, with the intention to numb the senses, or behavior, habits that allow us to numb our experiences down to a level that is processable for us. The other solution, of course, the one that I would suggest, is developing a spiritual practice and piercing through the ceiling, the bubble of our life's experience, to give ourselves more space to breathe and to expand the space that we have, our experience space, our life space, and to really give ourselves all the space that we need to experience and to feel everything that we need to feel and need to experience. And I am convinced that many of the people today who are in psychiatric institutions, or the people that suffer from substance abuse, are people that have a hypersensitivity, that sense more powerfully or more strongly many of the impulses that are coming towards them. What we need to do is accompany these people and teach them how to process these impulses, and also how to create the space in which to process and receive these experiences through spiritual practice and through meditation. And I can actually personally relate to this, because it's very much something that I have experienced my whole life. I remember as a child that it was very difficult for me to go to school because there was so much noise everywhere. The noise of the children in the playground was just too much for me to handle, because I had very sensitive hearing. I remember when we had family reunions when I was small, that I would seek out a place to hide in the house, and it wasn't because I didn't want to see my family, or because I didn't love them, or I didn't want to spend time with them, but it was because I could sense their energies too powerfully, and it was too much for me. There were too much different impulses for me. And I think this is the case for many people today, and for more and more people, and especially the children that are born into this world now, or that have recently been born. They have very developed senses, and we need to find a way to accompany them. And if we look at our education system and the learning processes that we have developed, they don't engage the senses enough. They don't teach children how to balance the senses. We think and we teach people that the only way to process our experiences is through the mind, through the brain. What this does, if we only focus on the mind and the brain, is one, it creates duality, because the mind, the brain, is an organ of duality. We have two brain halves. But we also create disincarnated people, people who are only in the head and who are no longer capable of feeling into what is right for them, of connecting to the world that surrounds them. We create a generation of people that are only in the head, which creates, again, a very limited reality and a very limited life experience. If we think about it, each of our 5 senses is a channel through which we communicate with the world, a channel through which we receive a different kind of information. And of course, we connect this to the brain. Of course, we make the connection to our mind. Our mind allows us to process all these impulses and all this information. Our mind, as you will, is the library of all our life's experiences, of all we feel, of all we encounter, of all that we sense. But the library in the sense of the furniture, the place where we stock all of these experiences. The books in the library are written by our experiences, are written by what we feel, are written by what we sense. So there is a collaboration, but the experience, the intelligence comes from our senses. Experiencing life through our 5 senses connects us into the innate intelligence of all life. And very often in our world, we underestimate the importance of the senses and the importance of our sensual experience of being able to connect to the world that surrounds us through each of our senses. And this is very much, of course, something that we have experienced over the last year, where people have been confined to their homes. Some people haven't even been able to go out to connect to nature, to walk in nature. People have been masked, so cut off from their sense of smell, and it creates a feeling of disconnectedness, of disorientation, of not knowing where to go anymore in life. So it really highlights the importance of being able to experience fully and completely each of the senses to be able to master them. And understanding that this is really how we connect into the world that surrounds us, also, to me, creates more understanding and more compassion towards people who are different, towards people who think differently than us, towards people who act differently than us, towards people whose needs are different than ours. Of course, if we all we do is just learn a process and our whole experience is found in the brain, then yes, if we function like computers, then every person can learn the same computer program and we all function in the same way. The reality is that each of us lives in a very highly individual and very different reality from all the other people on the planet. Because, of course, 5 channels of interpretation, 5 channels of perception into this world means an infinite combination of possibilities for each different person, which means that each person stands differently in life. And if we know this, then how can we possibly determine for another person how they should be feeling, how they should act, or what is the best choice for them? Only they know, and they can only know through feeling into, connecting into each of the 5 senses.